Hey, Laura J on day 27 out of 66 days to transform your self-image. How's your image? What's your image? How's it serving you? Are you already living it? Are you starting to? Are you just thinking about it? These are the things we need to consider because it occurred to me as I was listening to a video I called A Deep Dive Down the Rabbit Hole of Subversion on the YouTube channel in the same name as on my book, Laura J.E. Hamilton, which includes both my middle names in their first letter, as well as the name of the family or tribe that I was born into, which is the Roman name or legal name of my identity that I was assigned at birth, which was the first movement of my piece on the playing board of life. It occurred to me that it's not nice to consider the fact suddenly died was now one of the terms that was used to say somebody died randomly without explanation, though they may have altered themselves by taking inorganic substance of an experimental nature into their cells. Well, regardless of whether you have chose to go outside and be sprinkled with the air molecules that are being dropped, which is why we find there are X's in the sky for the first time. Why? It's insanity. But everything is mental in this place. And what I wanted to share is this died instantly or died suddenly. This whole concept, sudden death syndrome. Oh my God, I can't believe there actually is such a thing. I just have to recollect myself. Okay, I'm back. But sudden death, what if it was because our player made the choice to do what our soul came here to choose not to do? To rise above, I said at 2:22. So if we actually bow down to our carnal nature for long enough, we will just get to leave the game because we lost. Enough of our conscience, morality, and fragments of our soul that we were not whole enough to maintain embodiment. The soul's light could no longer be kept in a leaky vessel, which is why it is so important to strengthen our inner webs, and why I started a podcast on that subject last month. And then after a few episodes of pushing myself to get there and then not having anyone actually there or to share, actually, that's not true. Some did show when I let them know how to do so. So it's not for lack of desire, but by my lack of organization. Because we really need to have some sense of certainty and stability in order to feel safe and useful, and then to use that which we are presented. And so by sharing the opportunity to weave intentional inner webs, as was the podcast name that will come back very soon, I just need to first launch and complete the December transformation of a more intentional nature. So I am working on, in these final days of the second last month of 2023, I'm working on creating an outline to actually give you a guideline so that you can find what we cover more easily. I've been going over my notes from my McMaster University days as an English student with social science selectives, social work, philosophy, and cultural studies and critical theory. And what is so fascinating to me is how I was learning about the things that are now directly impacting me and ye and all of the world and the constructs of ideologies that we were taught about as theories that didn't actually have any legs to stand on because they were just mental. But once I actually brought them into my heart and lived the experience by getting stuck in the toxic system designed to consume creative ones who can find a way to zoom out and see the bigger picture, we then are able to come back into the cave and share what we found with those who see the shadows and believe them to be real when they are but images of the real thing. We must dare to challenge our existing belief systems if we are to actually come into greater wholeness, lest our soul remain stuck in the corporate souls, the soul corporates, the corporeal body of fictitious constructs that are mental in nature, which means that our consciousness is the frequency net or cap over top of our consciousness. And our ability to climb in awareness, to find more aspects of ourselves, to unlock doors that would allow more of us to come back to us. That's the quest. We came here to become more whole. And if we invite too much that is not of the highest and purest into our vessel, well, there will come a time when we find we don't get to come back to play because we won the 86,400 second lottery that day. One day we'll wake up and we won't have the option to play life anymore because we'll be in the highest self, and that's connected to the energy of all that is. It's the energy that is playing us. It's the spirit that connects to the soul. It's the God spark inside of us, the grand overall designer, the creator of all that is, that created us. Well, we have to reclaim dominion over the land, air, and water of an uncapitalized form and version. We have to see the fictitious nature of ideology. And then we have to see the ideological structures that act as frameworks to keep us bound to limitations, because that's as high as the crown could go, and so they say bow down and stay below so you don't overshow yourself and hide the main attraction, which is the one we paid to be here. They are meant to shine, not you, who just showed up here randomly. Who do you think you are? Well, as Marianne Williamson's poem Our Deepest Fear says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. For it is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. When we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, talented, gorgeous, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. When we let our own light shine, our presence automatically liberates others. We need not pretend to be other than we are, when in the end we will find that it was about how we spend the team that we have and are playing our lives with, that being our time, energy, effort, attention, and money. I hope this message serves you in deciding how you will use the 86,400 second lottery that you won today to be able to play with your team in a responsible way. And I also want you to know that responsible authority is what the agents in the public positions are meant to be, while the first person pronoun of me, my, us, ours, we, ourselves, myself, those first person pronouns allow us to remain as the appropriate authority of our own lives. That's different from the responsible authority who has a responsibility to respond to the appropriate authority's will and wishes, which we must direct responsibly if we are going to be the ones who called our soul back to become more whole and be here long enough to enjoy the soul in its fullest expression as we actually get to be the ones that we were waiting for before. Hope you liked it. I feel like Oprah's interviewees that always say at the end, how did I do? Let me know.